it is Michelle, and today we have another bullet journal plan with me video, and I'm super excited because this month's theme is Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon was, and I think still is, my favorite anime of all time. When I was a little kid, I used to wake up so early in the morning to watch it on TV. I had posters all over my room, I had all of the toys, all of the dolls. I was obsessed, but I just loved the show so much, so I knew that I had to dedicate one of my themes to it. I usually don't draw a lot either, but this month I went all out. I do also have an Instagram page dedicated to all of my bullet journal spreads. It's at michellekanemitsu, and I'll leave a link to it in the description below. So if you want to see what I created, then keep watching. Alright, so we're starting off with our cover page. Unfortunately, I forgot to hit record for the first few minutes, but I didn't get too far at least. All I drew so far is this ribbon and a moon with my Crayola Super Tips markers, and around it I'm drawing some iconic Sailor Moon symbols like her ribbon, Luna P, Artemis, and a bunny. And when I was creating all of my spreads, I was googling images and videos from the show and just got so nostalgic. The art style in the show is just so aesthetically pleasing to me, and when I was little I used to draw all of the Sailor Scouts and even create my own mangas and storylines with them because I just loved the story, the characters, and the art so much. Like, you guys don't know how obsessed I was. And then I also added some extra stars all around and lettered March inside the ribbon. But then I decided I wanted to outline everything, so that's what I'm doing here. And I like how it just makes everything pop a little more. Next, I'm working on my calendar spread. My boxes for each day are 7 dots wide and 7 dots tall. I'll also link which bullet journal I'm using in the description box, but I also added colored rows, which I'm going to fill in with numbers for each day, and each color corresponds to one of the inner senshi. By the way, my favorite Sailor Scout is actually Sailor Jupiter, and she's been my favorite since the very beginning. I just loved how strong and badass she was. And she was super tall too, which I always envied because I'm only 5'1". Let me know in the comments who your favorite character was or what your favorite memory is of the entire series. I especially loved all of Sailor Moon S with the daemons and pure heart crystals, and especially the last few episodes with the epic scenes with Mistress 9, Sailor Saturn, and all the inner and outer senshi. Sailor Moon R was also such an epic movie. Another scene that I vividly remember is the scene in the Super S movie where Usagi and Chibiusa are baking bunny and heart-shaped cookies. They just looked so delicious, and I wanted to eat one so badly. Like, why does anime food always look so much better than food in real life? Now I'm working on the little doodles all around the calendar. Starting at the top, we've got Luna, Artemis, and the bunny again. And at the bottom, I'm drawing a ribbon and writing the iconic lyrics: fighting evil by moonlight, winning love by daylight. And I keep switching back and forth between coloring and outlining all of my drawings. But also, I drew a mask as a tribute to none other than Tuxedo Mask. Can't forget about him. And then finally, I erased all my pencil marks, which is one of my favorite things to do because it's just so satisfying to see a completely clean and finished spread. Now onto week 1. I'm keeping this one simple with a horizontal layout, and each day is spaced out by 10 dots, and I drew little colored circles for each of the inner senshi, but also a pink one for Chibi Moon and a purple one for Sailor Saturn, and drew in each of the Scouts' symbols to the corresponding colors with my white gel pen. This spread is very simple, so I added some stars, moons, and planets with my yellow and gold markers just to add a bit more color, and then I started to outline them with my black pen, but I realized I hated it. So I used my whiteout to erase them, and I just drew over them again. Yeah, that happens sometimes. Alright, week 2. This one's similar to a spread that I did for February if you saw my previous video, but this was my favorite spread, so I really wanted to use it again. So each box is 12 dots wide and 21 dots tall. I also added a little line to separate bigger events on top and smaller tasks on the bottom. And at the top of each box, each rectangle is 2 dots long, which I'm filling in with black marker, and I'm going to write the days on top with my white gel pen. Coloring in all of these boxes took such a long time, you guys. I'm using my soft tip Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen, but if you guys have suggestions for other black markers that are bigger and is also a true black, please let me know. I tried using my black Crayola Super Tips marker, but my white gel pen just doesn't show up as opaque on it as it does on my Tombow brush pen. I'll show you an example of it later in the video for my last weekly spread. But yeah, I'd love to hear your suggestions, especially since I find myself using my white gel pen on top of black a lot in my spreads. Next up, I added a mini calendar and highlighted the week we're on and added a few more doodles. This time I drew Sailor Moon as well. When I was drawing this, I felt like I was 10 years old again, drawing all of the Sailor Scouts in my little sketchbook. And I was also going to draw Luna again, but I felt like the spread had a lot of darkness already, so instead we have Artemis. Now we're on to week 3. This one is one of my favorite spreads because of how minimal yet elegant it is. I just drew all of the symbols for the inner senshi. I drew all of their symbols when they became Super Sailor Guardians, so I tried freehanding all of them, and I actually did Sailor Moon's Crystal Moon Compact because I just like how it looks. And I also tried to draw a Mercury symbol. You can actually see my sketches of these two when I first flipped to this page, but just those two alone took way too freaking long to draw. So what I ended up doing was just cutting out some extra paper from my old bullet journal, taped it onto my iPad, and traced each of the symbols. Freehanding it was just not it, chief. So work smarter, not harder, kids. So once I finally finished outlining all of them, I took this glue tape that I bought from Daiso on a whim, thinking it wouldn't be that great, but I wanted to try it out anyway. But it actually ended up being very good and very sticky, which I was very pleasantly surprised by. And it's hard to tell, but the tape actually has a pink heart pattern, which is very cute. Too bad it's just gonna be covered up. So I just lined up the paper with the dots in my journal and pasted the pieces onto it. Now I'm working on the days, and each day is 8 dots wide, and I drew some boxes for the date, added a little drop shadow for more depth, and I stacked Saturday and Sunday because I don't need as much space to write things down for the weekend. And again, I added a line to separate events from tasks, and finally drew in my mini calendar. This spread is very simple and minimal, but that's right up my alley, so that's why it's one of my favorites this month. Now we are on to our final week, week 4. This is another horizontal layout, and each day is about 10 dots down from each other. And for this one, I just drew more icons again. So we've got Luna P, we've got a moon, a heart with wings, Artemis, a star, a bow, and a bunny. And I wrote all the dates either inside or below each icon. But for Luna P, I colored her in with my black Crayola Super Tips marker and wrote the date inside with my white gel pen. But the white just isn't as opaque as when I write over my Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen, like I mentioned before. Here's a side-by-side comparison, and I just used one layer of my white pen for both. So again, I would love to hear your suggestions in the comments below. Anyway, I quickly lettered all of the days, added a little calendar, and that's it for this spread. Very easy and quick. And finally, we have our trackers. I like to put mine at the very end of all of my spreads rather than like in the beginning after my calendar like a lot of other YouTubers do. It's just personal preference. But first I'm working on my mood tracker. I started the days 8 dots down from the top and 8 from the left, but this just depends on how many days of the month there are and how many moods you're tracking. I'm tracking 5. And I like trackers that are easy to make and not super complex or art heavy. And I also like them to be easy to fill out because if I'm going to be using this every day, I need it to be quick and convenient. So I'm color coding each mood from super happy to super sad with the colors of the 5 OG Sailor Scouts. And depending on my mood for each day, I'll just draw a line, like connect the dots. And here's an example from my February spread. And now for my habit tracker, I'm tracking a lot of habits, 13 to be exact. So I started at 8 dots down and 6 spaces from the left, and I'm using my pink marker to draw lines for each habit to make it easier to follow and fill out. At first I only drew one thin line, but decided I wanted it to be thicker, so I'm just tracing over each one again, and finally adding more little doodles at the top for that finishing touch. And now here's the final flip through. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this plan with me. This is definitely one of my favorites that I've ever created. Not like I've done a lot of bullet journal videos, but out of like the 4 that I've done in the past, this is by far my favorite. Let me know which page of my spread is your favorite. For me, it's probably between my calendar spread or week 3, just because I like how simple and minimal it is. And drawing all of these symbols took so long, but I'm really proud of how they came out. So yeah, let me know down in the comments, and also like this video if you enjoyed it. Please also subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!